You work your whole life, but when retirement comes, the bills still haunt you. You travel everywhere, but the look in people's eyes always reminds you you are black. You're tired of having to prove your worth, when all you really want is simply a place to live in peace, to be respected, and to be welcomed. Trust me, such places do exist. There are countries where, on the very first day you arrive, the government hands you free legal residency. No endless paperwork, no discrimination, only smiles and the words, "Welcome home." Today, I'm going to show you 5 such countries. And the last one on this list might just change your life forever. Comment all the places you want to go. Or if you think I'm wrong, point it out to me. I love that. Dream it. Pack it. Go. 5. Ghana. An African haven as warm as the palm of a hand. Do you remember the feeling of your mother's hand gently placed on your forehead when you were a child? Warm, calm, without a trace of worry? Retirement in Ghana feels the same. An African hand extended, warm and steady, whispering, "Welcome home." And if you are black, that invitation rings louder than the drums of a festival. Not a polite gesture, but a bloodline pulling you back to your roots. Ghana is not a postcard dream. It is real rhythm. In the morning, Labadi Beach is covered in a fine mist like sugar, with fresh fish laid out on trays glowing with the colors of kente cloth. At noon, the gentle spice of jollof rice awakens memory. By evening, the sea breeze whispers while laughter echoes from a church courtyard in the distance. Here, retirement is no longer the math of cutting back to make ends meet. It is adding more to live. With a budget of about $1,200, $1,500 per month, you can live neatly and comfortably in Accra or other major cities. Choose a simpler lifestyle, and that number stretches even further in quiet coastal towns. A one-bedroom rental. It may be higher in the city center, but in peaceful neighborhoods, just a few $100s a month is possible, especially if you are willing to trade a few steps of convenience for sunshine, sea breeze, and a welcoming community. Most people come to Ghana for the low costs. They stay for the sense of belonging. Imagine walking into Makola Market, a sea of colors and smiles, and being surprised when everyone calls you sister or brother. Here, you don't have to explain your skin color, don't have to hunch your shoulders passing by strangers. With 98% of the population of African descent, you transform from visitor to familiar in just one afternoon. In some places you ask, "Will I be accepted?" But in Ghana, that question suddenly feels unnecessary. As for residency, Ghana doesn't hand out instant permanent cards like a superhero movie, but the path is clear and wide. If you are part of the African diaspora, the right of abode is like a key made just for you. The door back home opens legally and honorably. Not part of that category? There is still a long-term residency permit for financially independent people of retirement age, usually valid for several years and renewable. The rules are simple: a clean record, proof of funds, and living a law-abiding lifestyle. No promises of a rosy picture, but clear and achievable. Healthcare in Ghana is like a growing garden, some trees already lush, others still needing more sunlight. The public system covers the basics, but in retirement, you'll want peace of mind. Private hospitals in Accra, ranging from general checkups to specialist consultations, offer fast service, with many doctors trained in Europe and fluent in English. A small tip: buy international insurance with medical evacuation included. You may rarely need it, but one time is enough to prove it's worth every penny. For the rest, common conditions, hypertension, diabetes, joint issues, are monitored with far more affordable costs than in the West. Ghana is a steady incense stick in the whirlwind of current events. Its multi-party democracy runs smoothly, with peaceful transfers of power. Of course, every major city has its low notes: pickpocketing in crowded markets, dark streets with few people. But that's a tune you already know by heart. Keep your bag in front, avoid flashy displays, use trusted taxis. In return, you gain something more valuable than money: the ease of stepping into the street, looking at people, and being met with friendly eyes. Ghana's beauty is the kind that doesn't try. Cape Coast and Elmina, two forts silently recounting the painful chapters of history, give you an afternoon of stillness to reconnect broken fragments of memory. Then you leave lighter, as if shedding an invisible backpack. At Mole National Park, elephants cross right in front of your car at sunset. That moment makes every bill, every phone call fall away like dry leaves. And if you enjoy spiritual coffee, stop by the Webb Du Bois Center, where the open pages of books feel like little doors, leading you into greater conversations about Black identity in the future. Daily costs, local vegetables, fresh fish, spices, are sweet like a May mango. Eating out, sometimes you can pay with a smile before you even reach for your wallet. Cooking at home, you shop with your eyes. Pick greens as bright as kente cloth, and you'll know they just left the garden. Transportation. Ride-hailing apps and regular taxis work fine. If you want a steady hand at the wheel, hire a private driver by the month. What feels like a luxury in the US is surprisingly affordable here. Internet? Good enough for remote work, solid for video calls with your grandkids. Sunday dinner may happen through a screen, but the laughter is still 100% real. Ghana is honest. Some days the power flickers. A rainstorm can turn a road into puddled bumps. A piece of paperwork may suddenly ask for one more signature. But like any lasting love, you learn to prepare. Install a small generator or backup battery. Pick a neighborhood with 24/7 security. Hire a trusted lawyer or immigration agent to smooth the paperwork. In return, you get a life where you don't have to pretend. Simple, but deep enough to be happy. Mr. James, 67, from Atlanta, US, arrived in Accra with 2 heavy suitcases and a mind full of questions. Where do I even begin? On his first day, he went to Makola Market. Voices in TWI echoed everywhere. Spices filled the air. Baskets of fish lined the stalls. James stood frozen, not knowing how to buy anything. A vendor saw him and laughed kindly. "Brother, what do you need? I'll show you." From that moment, a lost stranger was guided through the market, learning how to bargain, learning the names of dishes: jollof, kenki, fufu. During his first week, James struggled with utilities, internet, and residency paperwork. Every time he queued at the immigration office, he thought, maybe I made a mistake choosing Ghana? But one evening, a neighbor knocked on his door with a plate of grilled fish and said, "Welcome home, my friend." That sentence untied every knot in his chest. 2 months later, James was used to walking to the beach each morning, calling taxis through an app, and even greeting vendors with a few phrases in TWI. He laughed. "On my first day, I didn't know where to begin. Now every day, I just don't know where to begin my joy first." If you believe retirement isn't just about surviving, but truly living, hit like to show your support. Comment below. I'm ready if you want Ghana to become your new home. Your story might inspire someone else. And don't forget to subscribe so you don't miss the next journey, where each video could open a new door for your retirement. 4. Namibia, the land where the wind blows free. If Ghana is a haven as warm as the palm of a hand, then Namibia is like a dry wind sweeping across the Namib Desert, fierce, straightforward, yet full of freedom. Here, retirement is no longer about days spent circling crowded streets, but about throwing open the doors to breathe in vast open spaces where sunsets paint giant dunes in red and elephants wander across the horizon like figures in a living landscape. Many are surprised to learn that the cost of living in Namibia is not as expensive as imagined. With about $915 a month, you can cover basic living expenses, including rent. That figure is up to 63% cheaper than in the US. A one-bedroom apartment in Windhoek, the administrative and commercial capital, costs around $435, while in quieter neighborhoods, the price drops to about $340. Dinner at a mid-range restaurant is around $9.10, and a local beer only $1.70. Cheap enough that you can raise a glass every evening without worrying about your wallet. A couple living here on $1,500 a month can easily afford weekend outings, occasional safaris to see lions, or tickets to a concert in Windhoek. But what makes Namibia different is its residency policy. It doesn't advertise loudly like some other African countries, but Namibia has a direct path to permanent residency for retirees. If you are over 60 and can prove you have about $220,000 in assets, whether in real estate, savings, or investments, you can apply for permanent residency. The process can take 6-12 months, but once the door opens, you can live long-term, buy a home, own property, and move in and out of Namibia like a citizen. The processing fee of about $1,070 is nothing compared to the peace of mind of old age. Even better, Namibia only taxes income earned within the country. It does not touch your pension or foreign investments, nor does it impose heavy inheritance, capital gains, or personal wealth taxes. With the Namibian dollar pegged to the South African rand, you no longer have to worry constantly about currency devaluation. If you are Black, coming to Namibia feels like stepping into a vast community where you are no longer the minority. Over 90% of the population is Black, mainly Ovambo, Herero, Damara, and the history of fighting apartheid has left a spirit of unity. Here the words, "Welcome home, brother," are not just politeness, but a bond pulling you back to your roots. You don't need to explain your skin color or shrink under scrutinizing eyes. Namibian society is gentle, values respect, and if you share your story of returning to Africa, they will listen and honor it. Namibia is also one of the safest countries on the continent. Since independence in 1990, the country has never fallen into civil war. Multi-party politics functions smoothly, and elections are transparent. Serious crime is far lower than in South Africa, while rural areas are so peaceful you can walk alone under the moonlight without fear. Of course, there is petty theft in the cities, and you should be careful driving at night since beer culture is common. But compared to many other nations, Namibia offers a rare sense of safety. The healthcare system is another big plus. In Windhoek, private hospitals have excellent doctors, fluent in English, with modern services that still cost far less than in the US or Europe. Naturally, for highly specialized surgeries, you may need to go to South Africa, but with international health insurance, that becomes a short trip rather than a constant worry. Medicines are widely available at large pharmacies, and most importantly, you receive timely, attentive care when age brings its sudden aches. Namibia's lifestyle is slow and calm. Windhoek, though the capital, doesn't suffer from suffocating traffic jams or blaring horns. You can play golf in the morning, read on your porch in the afternoon, and on weekends drive out to Etosha National Park to see lions, or visit vineyards blooming on the mountain slopes. Namibia's nature is an open-air museum. The Sossusvlei dunes glowing red under the sun, wild horses galloping freely, and the cold Atlantic Ocean embracing the seaside city of Swakopmund. The air is dry, clear, and perfect for anyone wanting to avoid humid climates. Of course, Namibia is not an absolute paradise. The sparse population can feel lonely if you're used to big city life. Its cuisine, influenced by German and South African traditions, is heavy on beef and game meat, which may be unusual for those accustomed to Asian food. The dry heat can be tough for people with respiratory issues, and driving on the left side takes a few weeks to get used to. Bureaucracy also moves slowly, requiring patience. But in return, you gain something priceless: a peaceful retirement in a country that is safe, friendly, and rich with majestic nature. There's an old man named Richard, 70, from Texas, who came to Windhoek to start a new chapter. On his first day, he fumbled over whether to pay at the market in US dollars or Namibian dollars. The vendor smiled kindly, guiding him step by step. That evening, Richard sat in his $400 a month rental apartment, watching the purple sunset sink over the Awas Mountains. He chuckled. In the US, I lost sleep over bills. In Namibia, my only worry is whether tomorrow I should go on safari first or play golf first. A light-hearted question, but truly a statement that retirement in Namibia is a retirement of freedom. And perhaps, hearing this, you are asking yourself, one day, would you dare to set foot in this land where the wind blows free? If the answer in your heart is yes, leave me just a small sign, a like, a comment sharing your thoughts, so I know you too are longing for a peaceful retirement like Richard. And don't forget to subscribe to join me in exploring more corners of the world, where new doors to life are opening wide, waiting for you to step through. 3. Belize. Slow down to live. If Namibia is a dry desert wind, then Belize is a salty sea breeze whispering softly, go slow. In this country of just over 400,000 people, retirement is defined by the sound of rolling waves, steaming plates of seafood and beans, and the smiles of neighbors speaking English with a cheerful touch of Creole. The cost of living in Belize isn't so cheap that it shocks you, but it's affordable enough to make you sigh with relief compared to the US. A single person needs about $1,000 a month to cover food and housing, with even more savings if you shop at local markets and use public transport. A couple wanting comfort, with occasional dinners at seaside restaurants, can expect to spend about $1,500, $2,000 a month. A one-bedroom apartment in the capital's center is around $480 per month. A casual meal only $8, and a romantic dinner for two at a nice restaurant is about $34. What makes Belize stand out is its Qualified Retirement Program, QRP, one of the easiest and most attractive retirement schemes in the region. You only need to be 40 or older, prove a minimum income of $2,000 per month from outside Belize, and provide medical and police records. In return, you and your family receive a QRP residency card, with the requirement to spend just 30 days in Belize each year. The tax perks are nearly absolute. No taxes on pensions, capital gains, or inheritances from abroad. Even better, in your first year you are exempt from import duties on all household goods, one car, and even a yacht. It's a policy many jokingly call retiring like a VIP. Black expatriates will quickly see they're not out of place in Belize. About 25% of the population is Creole, of African and European descent, and 6% is Garifuna, of African and indigenous descent. Garifuna culture, with punta music, settlement day festivals, and coastal villages like Hopkins, feels like joining an open Afro-Caribbean family reunion. In Belize, black skin doesn't need explanation. It's already part of the national identity. Safety in Belize has two sides. The islands and expat areas like Ambergris Caye or Placencia are extremely peaceful and friendly, while some poorer neighborhoods in Belize City can be complicated due to gangs. The solution is simple. Avoid the notorious areas and choose expat communities, where in the evenings you can stroll the beach under the moonlight. Life in Belize follows the true rhythm of go slow, morning coffee on the porch, a midday swim in the sea, afternoons chatting with neighbors or joining a colorful Garifuna festival. Each day revolves around nature, the blue ocean, and a small, friendly community. Newcomers may be surprised when the power flickers or the internet slows, but just one boat trip out to the world's second-largest barrier reef, watching schools of rainbow-colored fish drift past, makes those inconveniences feel insignificant. Mr. Thomas, 65, once shared. On his first day in Belize, he was confused, not knowing where to begin, until he found himself at a seaside cafe in Caye Caulker, with a wooden sign on the wall reading, "Go slow." He laughed. "That's right. I don't need to know where to start. I just need to slow down. Belize will take care of the rest." And if you too want a place for retirement where the first thing you hear each morning is the sound of the ocean waves, then Belize may be your answer. If your heart beats a little faster at the thought, leave a like, share your feelings in the comments, and remember to subscribe so you don't miss the journey to discover more retirement paradises. 2. Rwanda. The Singapore of Africa. The cost of living in Rwanda is surprisingly low, only about $700 per month for one person, including rent. A central apartment in Kigali costs around $460, a casual meal only $3, and a cappuccino $2. With a pension from the US or Europe, your purchasing power here multiplies many times over. The Rwandan government offers an assured income visa for those over 55, requiring proof of a stable income of $5,000 per month and health insurance. The visa is valid for 2 years and easily renewable. Foreigners can lease land for up to 99 years, enough to feel secure in building a retirement home. What makes Rwanda special? 99% of the population is of African descent. Here, you are no longer a minority, no longer explaining your skin color. After the tragedy of 1994, Rwanda chose unity over division. Many African Americans have shared, "For the first time, I was simply a human being." In terms of healthcare, Rwanda has King Faisal Hospital and many reputable private facilities. A private doctor's visit costs only $20, $30, lab tests under $10. For complex cases, one must go to Kenya or South Africa, which is why international insurance is a must. On the other hand, Kigali is extremely clean, with excellent public sanitation management that helps limit disease. Rwanda is also among the safest countries in Africa. You can walk at night in Kigali without fear. The lifestyle here carries a meditative tone. Cool climate year-round, lush green hills, Lake Kivu, and quiet cafes create an ideal setting for retirement. Though it lacks a coastline, has limited international entertainment, and a small expat community, Rwanda compensates with safety, discipline, and rare tranquility. As Esther, 60, once said, "In Rwanda, I am not a black person. I am simply a human being." If Rwanda moves your heart, hit like, leave a comment, and don't forget to subscribe to join me in exploring more retirement paradises. 1. Barbados, the island where retirement feels young again. Among the 5 countries, Barbados is the most expensive destination, with an average cost of about $1,320 per month for one person, equivalent to $3,000 for a family of 4. Renting an apartment in central Bridgetown costs around $770, while in residential neighborhoods, it's only $370. 400. Imported food and services are fairly high, but in return, the island offers one of the best living standards in the Caribbean. For immigration, Barbados has 2 main options. Those over 60 can apply for immigrant status to live long-term, and, after 5 continuous years, are eligible to apply for permanent residency. Those with significant assets or investments can join the SERP, Special Entry and Reside Permit, requiring a minimum of $300,000 in real estate or $2 million in investments, granting long-term or even indefinite residency rights. In addition, there's the 12-month Welcome Stamp visa for remote workers, though this is not a path to settlement. What makes Barbados special for Black people is that over 90% of the population is of African descent. Here, you're not only accepted, but you become part of a community proud of its Afro-Caribbean heritage. The Crop Over Festival, calypso music, and island lifestyle all make you feel both connected and rejuvenated. The growing Black expat community from the US and Canada also makes integration even easier. Healthcare in Barbados is among the best in the Caribbean, with hospitals such as Queen Elizabeth and Bayview Hospital, and doctors trained in the UK and US. However, foreigners do not receive free care, so private insurance is required. Private consultations cost about $100, $150, still cheaper than the US but higher than Belize or Ghana. Barbados is one of the most stable and safest islands in the region. Crime rates are low, politics are solid, and police respond quickly. Retirees only need basic precautions to feel secure. In exchange, the biggest downsides are the high costs, the island's small size that can lead to cabin fever, and time-consuming bureaucracy. If Barbados makes you dream of a radiant retirement among turquoise seas and skies, hit like, leave a comment, and don't forget to subscribe to explore more paradises. And that's 5 countries, each with its own shade, its own invitation for your retirement. Ghana, warm as the embrace of your ancestors. Namibia, free in the desert winds. Belize, unhurried with Caribbean waves. Rwanda, orderly and safe like a miniature Singapore. And Barbados, radiant with the endless rhythm of calypso. The question now is no longer, is there a place for me? But where will I choose to begin this new journey? If this video has given you inspiration, hit like, leave a comment about the country you'd want to call home, and don't forget to subscribe so the next journey will always have you along for the ride.